Coming up on this episode of Don't Panic, we've got tech news including Sprint teaming up with Tidal. Will two companies going out of business do better as one company going out of business? We'll also talk about Samsung explaining why all those batteries exploded and why Apple wants its $1 billion back. It's all that coming up right now on a brand new Don't Panic. This is Don't Panic, episode number 155, recorded January 23rd, 2017. Oh, that's why they exploded. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Don't Panic, the technology podcast that's really glad they standardized those Japanese toilet controls. I'm Sean Jennings, joined as always by two guys, as New England coach Bill Belichick would say, two guys who refuse to go on Snapface or Instant Chat. It's Colby Rabbit and Dan Miller.
Hey, Sean, just doing my job here, just doing my job.
Just do your job, that's it. We're on to Houston. That's it.
I don't get it. I don't get any of what just happened.
Sports with a capital S.
Sports ball.
No, Bill Belichick. You remember famously Bill Belichick throwing the Surface tablets around.
He's the guy he was like the proto Mark Zuckerberg. He only wears hoodies.
Yes, with the cut-off sleeves. He's bringing it back. And in a recent interview, because Antonio Brown of the Steelers live streamed on Facebook Live from the Steelers locker room after their victory last week, 2 weeks ago. And caught the coach talking a lot of shit about New England, and he streamed it live. And so Bill Belichick said, "No, I don't use any of the Snapface or the instant chats." In his classic Bill Belichick fashion. So,
I want to see Bill Belichick do one of those. You know how they have, I don't know what magazines these are in, but they'll take like the sports stars and they'll do these like, oh, what does LeBron James wear? Like these little fashion exposés. They should do one of those for Bill Belichick. Like, don't even try to dress it up. Just tell it like it is. Like, oh, you got the American, what's that hoodie? Like super industrial hoodie brand.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sure he has a whole closet full of them.
Right.
Didn't like 1 or 2 April Fool's Days ago, like some fashion company did like a Mark Zuckerberg line where it was just like a gray T-shirt and jeans and like four sets of gray T-shirts and jeans.
Mm-hmm.
I see the appeal.
Yeah.
Simple.
I mean, that's basically what I wear.
But you have different gray T-shirts.
Yeah, and I also have gray pants. So I mix and match my gray pants. My mom gave me like gray socks for Christmas, so now I'm all gray.
Oh, you just blend into the walls at work? Where'd Colby go? That was right over there.
No, we have those.
Defense mechanism more than anything else.
Corporate camouflage.
Need someone to implement this thing. Where is Colby? I don't know. I haven't seen him in a while.
Just two eyes just open. He's been here the whole time.
So that's the dream. Yeah.
Well, someday you'll get there.
I know. In other news, I'm podcasting tonight from a Touch Bar Mac Pro.
Whoa! Colby robbed an Apple store.
I got a new work computer.
Whoa!
I was past my expiration, so. The good news is that
at some point.
What's that?
We all pass our expiration at some point.
Yeah, sooner or later.
Did your computer start to smell like old milk? Just a little rancid smell? Guys, does anyone know the Best By date on this?
Yep. So I was gonna say the good news is I don't hate it.
Promising.
So the bad news, I think I told Dan about this, but it took me a day to figure out what was happening. But like just once in a while, randomly, I would like be doing something and then like all the windows would close and like I wouldn't be able to type and stuff and I couldn't figure out what was happening. It turns out over the years, I've become accustomed to just like resting my finger on the escape button when I'm not using it. Which was fine when the escape button was a button, but now that it's a touch thing, resting your finger on it is akin to holding the button down. So I was just mashing escape. And I did it again today. But so that's my biggest challenge is not doing that. My second biggest challenge is finding all the right dongles. I ran out of ports to plug my dongles in. one of my monitors at work is just orphaned right now until I get a dongle that can take more than one plug.
A dongle?
Yeah.
I just imagine Colby like daisy chaining like 8 of them together.
I'll send you a picture of what it looks like right now. But otherwise, it's nice. I like the keyboard. I already had the MacBook One, so it's not like. I guess I think it's an improvement over that one. It's definitely lighter, which is the reason I decided to exercise my upgrade at work, because most of the time, like half the time I spend with my computer, I'm carrying it. So, yeah, I don't know.
Oh, congratulations.
I'll report back if anything exciting happens, but
please do.
How are you doing without the escape key?
Oh, that's the other thing. I've been training myself to use the other like exit insert mode key sequence in Vim, which is Control left bracket. But it's weird. It's very weird. And like I can do like the escape button is in the same place. It's just it feels bizarre. Like you don't know if it worked or not. So I have to like look and see if I press the button, as opposed to before when I could just like no. The other thing that people complain about with the arrow keys being different, that's also true. Like they made they made the left and right arrows like full size keys, so there's no like empty space, which looks nice, but you can't like feel where the arrow keys are. They just feel like all the other buttons. So that's a little strange, but I don't know what to do about that. I think I just need to like relearn to do it and like navigate by the edge of the keyboard or something instead of navigating by the inside, the empty space above the keys. But it's strange. But
I don't use arrow keys, so that wouldn't bother me.
I don't.
You don't
use
spend
arrow
all day
keys
in Excel like any good office worker?
No. Sometimes I do, though. That does happen, you're right. But my keyboard already doesn't have any arrow keys, so it's fine.
Does it have any letters written on them?
It does, actually, but you can't really see them, so it might as well not.
Is that like the expert level keyboard where you don't label the keys and don't know what they are? How thick is that thing? Oh my god.
Pretty thick. Oh, here.
Oh my god, you could like murder somebody with that.
Not nearly as much as my other one. My other one was made out of actual metal.
Oh my god. Tools of the trade.
Yep. You have to invest in good tools.
Mm-hmm.
I secretly hope that if like enough software engineers get loud enough keyboards, the companies will be forced to abandon the open floor plan situation and like put us in rooms so no one else can hear the thundering, and then we'll all go back to regular keyboards.
Yeah, you guys get better keyboards to do your programming job. I keep telling my company, to do my job better, I need one of those big egg massage chairs you see at like the airport. You can pay for like $1 for 5 minutes. I need one of those to do my job better. They haven't bought me one yet.
Bummer. Someday
I'll keep dreaming.
You got to get it like an RSI or something, like a back thing. It's like
help me. Someday, also likely. Good. Well, I want to quickly remind everybody, if you're watching us live on Facebook at facebook.com/don'tpanicshow, thank you. We appreciate it. We're in week 2 of our live call-in experiment. On last week's Up for Debate, we had our first ever live call-in during our Monopoly episode. It was a lot of fun. I think it really enhanced the show, so we encourage people, if you're watching live and you have something to contribute, call in 508-644-TECH, T-E-C-H. That's 508-644-8324, and it's also on the bottom of your screen if you're watching the video. And if we're not live, you can also call and leave us a voicemail. And, guys, we're going to up the ante. The first person to call in to Don't Panic and have something actually useful to say, you can't just call in and say you did it, you have to contribute, there is that disclaimer, is going to get a free limited edition Don't Panic tote bag. Only a few of these have ever been made.
Wow.
It's got the logo on it. I'm going to stuff some change mode stickers I still have in there. You can have them because nobody else wants them. And it will get sent to you in the mail, a Don't Panic tote bag for our first caller. So how's that for incentive? We're literally bribing people to interact with us. That's how I make most of my friends. All right. Hey, how are we doing on time? Oh, good. We're only 10 minutes in. Colby, you did something interesting this weekend.
Did I?
You went out to the march.
I went to the march. Yeah.
Yeah. How was that? I was watching CNN and they were a little bit here and there and they were doing the helicopter shots and they showed Boston and there was like a fuck ton of people. I was like, oh my God.
I dare say, like, there are almost as many people as you can just randomly fit into Boston in Boston.
Boston is not optimized for anything, really.
No.
Never mind density.
No, they weren't considering really any of these problems and like any future success a city could have when they designed Boston. So, yeah, apparently, I don't know, according to whoever, there were like 175,000 people there in Boston, which was crazy. It was supposed to be like a rally thing. Like there were speakers on the Boston Common, which is like a giant park if you've never been to Boston. And then like a march, but the problem was like the march was just down the streets and like they're like reasonably sized streets, like 3 lanes or whatever. But when you have 175,000 people, like people started coming back around like finishing. So the march was like a loop, like down, it was like a mile and then back to the Common. And like people were finishing before like even a fraction of the people in the Common had left yet. So I didn't end up actually marching, as I think is true of many folks, but it was pretty interesting. It was, I don't know, I guess it was nice to feel like I was contributing something, no matter how small. I thought it was cool to see the New York Times had an article like with pictures from all of the different marches around the world. And I thought that was really cool, having been at one of them and to see them all from like all over the country and elsewhere. But yeah, it was cool. It was a life experience I've never had before, really. I've never felt like particularly politically motivated in my life. So, but now we have like a disaster of a president. So.
And I'm sure, Colby, a great place to pick up ladies. So I'm just saying.
I mean, I did technically go with Jill, so I guess that worked out. I don't know.
Yeah. You picked up the lady you came there with, but that's okay.
I picked her up I picked her up on the way, like at the door to our apartment, and then we went to the march together.
That sounds like a country song. Pick up the girl you came with.
Oh my God, it does.
Outstanding. Well, very good. We're glad you survived the march and are back here with us, gentlemen. I think it's time that we move into the tech news. We've got some really great stories here. There's actually a decent amount of stories this week. They fall into a couple big categories. It's up to you where we start. We've got Sprint and Tidal. We've got Samsung's report. We've got Qualcomm and Apple. Japanese toilet enthusiasts, Verizon, Yahoo. Sky's the limit. Where do you guys want to start? Don't all jump at once. It's a tough decision. All right, we're gonna start with the Galaxy Note 7 recall report. Why those phones exploded? Because America needs to know. People are asking. The big question on everyone's mind is, why did those phones explode? You may remember we talked previously on the show all about the Samsung Galaxy Note 7, the phone that kept exploding in everybody's pockets so badly that they had a massive recall and had to ban it from flights and disconnected and recall all of them at great expense to Samsung. Well, several months later, Samsung put together a giant report with the help of their own internal people as well as 3 outside firms to come up for the reason why they exploded. Are you guys have any guess before I give you the answer?
I already read it.
So did I.
But not that it mattered. I didn't really. I like glaze over it literally.
It's
I was
very
like, okay,
technical.
batteries.
It's extremely technical, and the simplest way I can explain it is that they had 2 rounds of batteries, right? The first ones that went out in the production units, and then when you sent yours back to get a new battery, they sent out replacement batteries. Both had flaws. The first battery had a design flaw in the upper right corner that could cause a short circuit, and I'll put up on screen here for the folks watching the video a nice little graphic they put together where the electrode was like bent because of the design of the battery. It kind of cut the corner and caused the little metal pieces to touch each other, and that caused, sparks and explosions. The replacement batteries, apparently, it was a combination. The main cause was bad welding that actually perforated the insulation in the separator that kept the parts that when you touch them together explode, which is bad. In addition, some of the batteries actually didn't even have insulation tape like they were supposed to, which was a major issue in the supply chain. Samsung has said that they now have an 8-point system, is what they call it, that they will be using going forward to hopefully avoid this, including additional inspections and additional testing measures. They conclude the investigation with 700 dedicated staff testing 200,000 phones and 30,000 extra batteries to find this out. Now,
Cool.
I will say, on the flip side, Samsung also announced their earnings, and good news for Q4, they had its best quarter in 3 years. They bounced back. They earned 9.2 trillion won, which is about 7.2 billion, in profit on sales of about 45.8 billion, a 50% jump in profit from the same period a year ago at Samsung's most profitable quarter in 3 years. So, guys.
How does
Yes.
Samsung measure, like, when you say profit, is that like Samsung the conglomerate or like the division that makes phones?
That's the entirety of Samsung.
That's crazy.
So
So they very well may have made less money comparatively on phones for last year, but you would never know.
Yeah, most companies like really try to avoid breaking out individual parts of their business for a number of reasons, mainly so you don't know what parts are hemorrhaging money. And so, yeah, they tried really hard to keep it as vague as possible.
Gotcha. Well, I guess that's good for them.
I thought it was interesting that they went the technical route for their explanation. I appreciated it, but I'm not most people. What did you guys think of it?
I think I was gonna let Colby go first, but he's munching on. What are you munching on there, Colby?
It was just the cherry from my drink.
Oh damn!
It was a terrible time to eat it.
No, that's it. Right when Dan asked
It's like at restaurants when you take like the biggest bite you've ever taken of something, and they come over and like, "How is everything?" I'm like,
I give them the thumbs up. I go. They're usually
you can't give them thumbs up anymore. That's tarnished. You gotta give them the okay sign.
Like, I'm not choking. I am still alive. No, it's really interesting. I feel like we always kind of give this like it's the end of the world and they've lost all public trust and no one's going to buy their products anymore because they explode. And then I think back, like, think of all the great American companies that have suffered major damage to their brand and to their business and have bounced back. Like, this isn't uncommon by any stretch. You have to remember, Tylenol literally sold people poison pills and never caught the guy who did it. And they're as successful as ever. And the list can go on and on about, airlines. I mean, you look at various crashes and accidents and they bounce back. Actually, that might not be true. Actually, a lot of airlines did go out of business. But that's neither here nor there. My point being is that, the American people, I think, are relatively forgiving as long as a company is upfront and honest. And, I think Samsung bungled a lot of this from the beginning, and we talked about this on previous episodes about, doing the first recall and then not admitting the replacement batteries were bad, and then like half-assing the recall and not going through the proper channels with the U.S. government, and then finally doing it. Honestly, I feel like if they had just done a full recall at the beginning and then put out this report, it would have been better for them than what did happen. But I think they're going to be fine. I mean, again, I don't know if they're number 1 or number 2 globally. I think in the U.S. they're number 2, but I think globally they might even be number 1 for, cell phone sales. I don't know if I'm just making that up, but I think that's true. I think it takes more than this to knock you out of that position. If they had been like, an HTC or a Motorola is now, where they're kind of like in the game, but they're not, an LG, where they're in the game, they're not in the game, then I think it would have really done a lot of damage. But I think when you have such a head start and such a diverse group of products, I think it's very hard to knock them down. And they've already said they're planning on coming out with a Note 8. So, I mean, it's certainly not the end of the Note or of them making phones. So, I'm not surprised.
What percentage of people do you think research products before they buy them?
I don't think a lot with phones. I feel like most people's research is like going to the Verizon store or whatever and like looking at the phones that are there.
Which means they're only ingesting sales.
Yeah.
Whatever you call it.
Yeah, that's another
Sales
marketing
That's
stuff.
another thing we discussed, where a lot of cell phone companies that have gone away, Google being a good example of why they've always struggled to get their Nexus and now Pixel phones to be successes, is because they've never been successful in store getting people to buy them. They can put out billboards as much as they want, but yeah, I think you're right. I think it really is sort of a point of purchase decision. And there's also, and again, we've also talked about ecosystem lock-in, which I think is another, when you're talking phones and technology in general, is another big piece.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's, well, I hypothesize, I would hypothesize that that's especially the case in like the Android phone world, where a lot of your data is probably in Google stuff. So like you can switch between Android phones like relatively easily. So the differentiator is like when you go to the store, like which ones are in your budget, and like for the ones that are in your budget, like what catches your eye, as opposed to iPhone stuff, which is, I suspect people buy iPhones for different reasons. Well, maybe not the ecosystem lock-in. That's definitely a reason, but I don't know. But like maybe it is a comparison. Maybe, I guess those are in the store too.
Well, whatever the reason, I mean, we know, and the exact number's escaping me, but I know at one of the last couple Apple announcements that, they like to put up those sales figures at the beginning. They said something like 85% of iPhone users previously owned an iPhone. So there is a certain amount of, I'd be curious to know what that number is for like a Samsung or Android in general, if there is a lot of phone hopping, or if they tend to stick with one provider.
Right.
Anecdotally, only like the super nerds switch around. Most people stick with one brand,
I would think.
Makes sense.
Unless, and I think we're almost beyond this. I mean, a phone would have to have a real gangbuster. I think that's why you look at LG when they tried, the sort of modular phone where you could attach stuff. I mean, I think we're to the point now where phones need like gangbuster features. I know Dan likes that word. Gangbuster features to really blow the doors off, and to get people to switch, because simply saying our phone has a slightly longer battery and a bit of a bigger screen, and it's, that's why I think VR, they're trying to get VR on more phones, and I think that's how you get people to switch. I don't know if it's working.
Have either of you tried the phone VR? Like any of the phone VRs?
Yeah.
I haven't. Is it garbage? It seems like it wouldn't be great.
It's okay. It's like better than you would think, but not that much better than you would think.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I forget it. I'm pretty sure I played a game on one once where it was a very dumb game. You didn't move in the game, so you just looked around. It was like a scary jump scare game. That was okay. And then there's like, I did this like VR images thing where you can use like the 360 Facebook pictures and stuff like that and look around, and that was cool. It was blurry, but it wasn't too blurry. But it wasn't what you'd get with the HTC or the PlayStation or the Oculus.
Gotcha.
Sure. Makes sense. Well,
But it like had the head tracking because it has the accelerometer. So it in some ways that it does. I don't. The first version of Oculus I tried did not have that. Like I don't think it wouldn't track your head movements. Is that true? I don't remember anymore.
I think it did.
Did it? Okay.
I think so. Were you there the time we tried the first one?
Yeah.
I thought it did. Yeah. I don't remember, though.
Well,
who knows?
I think this is part of the reason Google's pushing their Daydream, right? Is that what it is? Daydream standard for phones, where they say, phones have to have a certain resolution and a certain processor and certain sensors to make them an optimal VR experience. And they say those phones are coming out. So I think that experience is probably going to get better as time goes on, hopefully.
Gotcha.
I think.
Right.
All right, well, if you out there think if you would never buy another Samsung phone because you're afraid it would explode and burn your jeans, let us know. 508-644-TECH is the number. 508-644-8324. Call us live. Give us your thoughts on the Samsung recall. Can you ever trust them again?
At least this finally means maybe, I don't know, does it mean that we won't hear those announcements on airplanes anymore about not using...
You won't. The FAA put out, this was a week or two ago, that they've officially stopped doing that they consider that there's so few of them out. Because what was it? Verizon has now... What is it? They keep shutting off features on the phone like Verizon does, where it's... At first they shut down, I don't think you can send SMSs anymore from them. If you call them, their voicemail... If you call their phone numbers, it automatically redirects you to like customer service or something. The only thing that still works on them is 911 services, and they're like fighting a lawsuit to be able to shut it down. It's like really, but they're like slowly. If you have a Note 7, odds are good you can't do much with it anyway. So at this point, it's a collector's item. Hopefully one that doesn't explode on your shelf. All right. Well, good. Let's see. What else do we have in here, gentlemen?
What is it? What is this? Someone bribed Apple?
Yeah. So this is. Oh boy, is this a complicated story?
Allegedly bribed Apple. Is the other one less complicated?
Well, the other stories are, but we can give it a shot, and if we get stumped, we can always move on. Qualcomm. Okay. Everyone loves Qualcomm. You use Qualcomm stuff all the time. Qualcomm makes those little modem chips that go in all the cell phones.
Yeah.
Is the simplest way I can put it.
Consumer brand name technology company, I think Qualcomm.
Was it Qualcomm who did? No, I'm thinking something else. Qualcomm. They make a lot of modems for phones, but that's not where they make most of their money. They actually make most of their money in patents. It's estimated that for every iPhone 7 that's sold, Qualcomm makes $15. Multiply that times the number sold, that's a lot of money, and that's just an iPhone. So that's where they make a lot of their money. Now the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, is suing them for anti-competitive practices, and it went like this. Let's say Dan was making the Miller phone, all right? And he was looking to put a modem in. Odds are good you have to pay Qualcomm because they own all the patents on, cell phone modems and things like that. They're gonna charge you a fee, right, Dan? Now, Qualcomm was going to come to you and say, look, Dan, you can go with Intel or whoever our competitor's chip is, and we're going to charge you $30 for every Miller phone you sell in patent fees. Or, Dan, you can use a Qualcomm chip. They're good chips, trust me. But we'll only charge you $15 in those licensing fees. And in some extreme cases, they would even refuse to sell modems to companies that did not agree to those extremely expensive licensing terms. Now, because Qualcomm is one of the only companies that can supply large quantities of high-end modems, companies didn't have much choice. If they didn't agree, they wouldn't be able to make enough phones to satisfy demands. Now, these patents come under a law called FRAND, or Fair, Reasonable, and Non-Discriminatory. And basically what that says is because it's so essential to the industry that Qualcomm legally has to charge a quote-unquote fair price. And they violated that rule by making it really expensive for people who didn't use their chips. Overall, it sounds very sketchy. Of course, Qualcomm says they don't do that. FTC says they do. Now they're going to a lawsuit from the FTC. That's part one of the story. With me so far?
Part one.
I know.
There are two other parts.
Yes. Now
there could just be one other part. Are there three parts?
There's three parts. This next one's quick. An example of this is that, and then you need to know part A to get part B of this, with Apple. Back in 2007, when Apple was making the original iPhone, Apple had a choice. They could choose a modem from Qualcomm, or they could make a modem using the WiMAX standard. Now, if you don't remember WiMAX, it was like a version of LTE. Sprint actually rolled it out nationwide before LTE. It was faster than 3G. It didn't end up getting adopted at all, and now it's defunct and no one uses it. But at the time, Apple had the option to make a WiMAX phone. Well, Qualcomm came in and said, hey, we'll make you a deal. If you agree not to make a WiMAX phone and use exclusively Qualcomm modems, we will rebate royalties that Qualcomm received for every phone you sell. So if Foxconn or whoever made the phones paid the royalty to Qualcomm, Qualcomm would pay it back to Apple, essentially refunding them for those royalties on the condition they don't sell a WiMAX phone. It sounds sketchy, but as far as I can tell, it's not illegal, although it is part of that FTC lawsuit, so I guess that's remained to be seen. The reason I tell you this is because now Apple is suing Qualcomm for $1 billion over that deal. And they say Qualcomm withheld that $1 billion as retaliation for Apple cooperating in the FTC lawsuit. And Qualcomm is refusing to pay Apple. Now, Qualcomm has said they won't stop shipping chips to Apple, which is a big deal. If they were to stop doing that, we'd have a big problem. But they are withholding a $1 billion. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Retaliation for Apple cooperating in a South Korean investigation of Qualcomm, which led to an $853 million fine last month. So that was a separate thing. I just want to be clear.
Got it.
That's the story.
Suing them for a cool Instagram.
Yes, exactly. It's certainly sketchy practices and a good reminder that when it comes to things like patents and large-scale manufacturing, the rules don't apply.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, it is. I mean, Qualcomm charges 5 times more than all the other cellular patent licensors we have agreements with combined, says Apple. They're far and away the most expensive, and that's because they hold a strong position.
Intel would do this too, right? Like, their chips were so much more expensive and so much more widely used than any other, like ARM or PowerPC or things like that, because they were better. I don't know if Qualcomm's chips are any better than anyone else's. I guess they must be, otherwise why would anyone want them? Or are they the only game in town?
I'm not expert enough to answer that question. I can, from what I've read around this story, they're just big enough where it's a problem. Is there someone else you could go to? Sure, but someone else who can get enough chips to service Apple? Probably not.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, it's interesting, and we've seen a number of these companies that rely heavily on patents, and sometimes the companies pay and sometimes they don't. And I think the sort of takeaway here is that it's one thing to charge a fee that's fair and that's within our patent system, but it's another to essentially strong arm companies into paying an excessive, exorbitant fee, or else use their chips.
And this is also how ARM makes money, by the way. ARM doesn't make any chips. I guess Qualcomm does in this case.
Mm-hmm.
ARM only gives you the right, I don't know what the word is, the license, I guess, to make the chips yourself, which is crazy. What a business!
It's a good business.
So what do they do? Do they do anything anymore?
Just theoretically design chips that could exist, patent them, and then license that idea to you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, weird.
I always love the governing bodies for standards, like the Wi-Fi standards body, and you pay them for the rights to call your thing a Wi-Fi, or like Bluetooth. Like you can't just like you have to get the Bluetooth logo. Like you have to pay them to do that. Like it's a great business. Like I don't know why we're not in that business. You just go to your mailbox and cash checks. It's great. You don't have to do anything.
I guess you had to do the one thing,
The first
but then
time, sure.
forever after that.
I think it's pretty good. This is why we need the Don't Panic seal of approval, and only certain technology items can get the Don't Panic seal of approval. But you have to pay us $50,000 to use it.
We could be right. We could be like the next Sweet Home or something, but like more shady,
but way more corrupt. Absolutely. And our first product with the Don't Panic seal of approval, the Galaxy Note 7. Boom, stamped.
Only if Samsung gives us enough money.
Oh, and I would gladly be like, sure, the phones explode. It's a feature. They're supposed to explode.
Right.
Approved.
They're hand grenades.
Yes,
self-defense.
exactly. It's exciting. It's an exciting phone. But anyway, yeah, this has the potential to get pretty nasty between Apple and Qualcomm. We're talking two multi-billion-dollar companies going at it, each with a lot of leverage over the other. So, we'll see what happens moving forward. Fair enough.
Indeed.
Yeah, not a lot of legs to that story, but that's okay. We've got some more in here, gentlemen. We can talk Sprint title, Fabric. We can talk Verizon, Yahoo, Japanese toilets. What's
You gotta do Japanese toilets.
gotta do Japanese toilets? Well,
We
Dan, I
made
know
it this far.
Dan, I know you're a Japanese toilet enthusiast, so this story is right up your alley.
Am I?
Are you?
I am, actually. I just didn't know that you knew that. I've never actually used one, though.
I haven't either.
I'm enthusiastic about the idea.
Do you like the idea of Japanese?
Yeah, I would like to try. I am interested.
Well, Dan, good news, because the Japanese toilet industry has agreed to standardize complex bidet controls. I got to put this picture up on screen for the folks watching the video. This is like my favorite picture ever of these just like Japanese businessmen ranging from serious to thrilled, holding up this large sign showing all the standardized icons for the Japanese toilets. Now, I don't know if you guys have read the articles. Can you identify all of these images from left to right?
See. So the first one has like a toilet seat with the top part moving up. So I'm going to say it's opening the toilet.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next one is taking the seat part and bringing that up. So, yeah. The third one is like a big flush that you would use for a number 2.
No, Dan.
And
that's
the
the
second
one that
one's a
teleports
small
you to
flush.
another dimension.
That's the
Damn.
Beyond section of Bed Bath & Beyond.
That's right. That's how they dispose of your waste.
do-
Just eject it.
Do you
into an
really
alternate
want a
dimension.
toilet with a Beyond section?
I do if it never gets clogged.
It's a
That's
feature. No, Dan, you're right. That is the big flush and the small flush.
You can't pollute alternate dimensions.
It's their problem.
And then, of course, the fifth one is the bidet itself, because it's got a little stream of water and a butt. But then the other one also has that. But it's a person sitting in the streams going up, but also their hair's flying back. So maybe that means that you get like blasted with hot air while the bidet's going.
This is the best thing.
And then, that would explain the next one, which is just hot air blast, no bidet, and then the stop button.
You were mostly right. So the way that they describe it is, you were correct up to small flush. The butt with the spray is just rear spray. It's technically not a bidet because it's just for the rear. Then it's bidet.
Wait. What?
There's different levels of
Okay.
spray, Dan.
Okay.
I hate to tell you, there's
the
a
back. Wait, okay.
there's a-
You don't mean like it sprays your back.
No. Put it this way, Dan. It sprays your butt and forward, not up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. That's the full bidet, and then it is dry and stop. So you were like 80% right. You may be a Japanese toilet
Now,
expert.
why is the person on the full bidet, why is their hair like this? Why is it like back, like they're the person in front of the fan and the couch thing?
I don't know, dude. You should write them a letter.
Maxwell CD guy.
The Japanese.
Yeah. We should redo that that picture of someone on a bidet instead. with the goggles on. Yeah. It drives you right off these new Japanese bidets. In fact, you just get out of the shower, sit down on it, and then like that, you're just dry.
It's a good idea. The Japan Sanitary Equipment Industry Association needs to know. That's the consortium of companies that includes companies like Toto, Panasonic, and Toshiba. They have agreed to unify the iconography.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. JC. And then the last one is stop.
And the last one is stop. Yes. The panic button. Stop! What are you doing?
Hell out.
You gotta change our icon now.
Ejector seat.
Oh God.
Panic button. Yeah, it just shoots you out through the roof in case of emergency. Like someone just bursts into your bathroom while you're using the bidet, you can just nope out of there real quick. And it uses water to do it too. Actually, it's the full bidet plus.
This is why we don't design toilets. My God. Oh, apparently, part of the reason they did this was because the 2020 Olympic Games will be in Tokyo, and they were afraid tourists would not be able to recognize the multitude of icons across all the different brands. Yeah, apparently they're doing a lot of...
Oh my
It says
God.
much of Japan is currently engaged in a rush to make itself more welcoming to tourists ahead of the Olympic Games. And icon design has often been at the forefront of debate.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy in the center of this image is definitely the most excited.
Oh, dude. Once again, as per our earlier discussion, he's the guy who spent his whole life working on the icons that go on Japanese toilets, and an unsung hero.
Right.
Is that guy? So.
Yeah, the guy on the bottom row on the far left is not amused though.
Nope.
No.
Not
Some
at
of the
all.
people in the back aren't too happy. I want to know what that sign says behind them also. Like, what do you...
It probably
What do you
says
call this?
Japan Sanitary Equipment Industry Association. But I'm not very fluent in Japanese, so I couldn't tell you. Just a guess.
Where's Colin when you need him?
I know. Hey, look, if you're out there and you can translate Japanese for us, or just have thoughts on Japanese smart toilets, give us a call, 508-644-TECH,
Smart
508-644-8324.
toilets, though. Wait, what would a smart toilet be? These aren't smart. These are just bidets.
They're smarter than my toilet, Dan.
But they don't have any smarts.
Well, smart is relative. I mean, if it doesn't connect to Wi-Fi, it's not smart.
Smart tea kettle, if it's like if you can like, I thought the connotation of smart, although TVs betray. No, smart is connected to the internet, right? That's what we've determined.
They do have.
None of us are smart because we're not connected to the internet, but your TV is.
Speak for yourself. Most Japanese toilets aren't connected to the internet, but some of them are.
What does that do?
Well, now I have to Google and find out. I'm going to regret doing this. Let's see, Japanese.
What could it possibly
toilet
do? Why would it
Wi-Fi.
ever need to be connected to the internet?
Toilets get Bluetooth. So here's oh boy, this goes back to like 2013. It's been a while.
Toilets
Flush
get
with your
Bluetooth.
smartphone. Toilets get Bluetooth. Let's see.
Oh,
The app can trigger a lifting of the toilet seat or a flush if you've forgotten. So like if you leave the home and you're like, I didn't flush the toilet, you can flush it remotely.
Who has that problem?
It can also control an extending bidet feature. The app lets you maintain a diary of toilet use and even play music through built-in speakers.
that was the only use I could think of, was if you wanted to gather statistics on your toilet usage. But
That's smart.
that's so useless. All these other ones, it brings me back to the dryer problem. Having a dryer that notifies you over Wi-Fi that the clothes are done gives you no benefit.
Dan, here is...
Just like you have to take a shit in the toilet in order to flush it, so you're already there. You're already there. Just pull the lever.
Yeah, but Dan, get
Or
this.
press the button.
Here's a
What's
feature
the
I know
button
you'll
for that?
use. So
Press button 3.
Kohler has a smart toilet that has a built-in SD card slot. And it is so users can create playlists or program a personalized greeting. Your toilet will greet you. Hello, Dan. And then the seat lifts up.
That's no.
Wow.
It's got a
I
USB
would pay
port on
to
the
not
back,
have
so
that
service
feature.
techs can update the firmware. It has firmware, Dan. And would you like to know how much this will set you back?
$100.
It's a bidet and a heated dryer, heated seat,
300.
foot warmer, built-in music player, $6,650.
Oh my god.
My God.
Get yours today. I don't know how many they've sold. Probably not. It's a good-looking toilet if you got the pick. It's got a smart remote. It's got an ambient light that you can change the colors.
There you go, Colby. You can hook that up now. You can change the
It looks like a
the
trash
lights.
can.
Wow.
This is
Wow.
weird.
I don't think I've been living because I haven't had one of these toilets.
Your life could be so much better, man. I'm telling you.
Imagine.
Now,
Okay.
if it was a fully programmable greeting, then you could do some interesting stuff with it.
I want
Like,
Alexa.
you could.
Put Alexa in
That
there.
must have been announced at CES this year.
A smart toilet with Alexa. That's a myth. You know what, Dan? That is a Kickstarter waiting to happen. Now's the
I
time.
feel like it would have to be one of those joke Kickstarters, though. Like, not that I wouldn't make it if I got $1 bajillion, but that it would primarily be motivated as a joke, like
But hang
a
on.
thing, a gag, like gag gift for the rich.
Time out. I actually think that's a good idea. I don't think it's a joke. Because where's the one place you want to be hands-free? When you're on the toilet. I think about all the things I do with my Alexa, right? Is things you might want to do in that situation. Turn on the lights on and off, play music, set a timer, add something to your shopping list,
I think this is inevitable.
order more toilet paper.
Yeah, I agree. But you wouldn't need a toilet paper if you had a bidet, though.
Oh, well, that's true.
I guess maybe you would. I've never had one.
Although that's another great start.
Here's the thing with the bidet, though, is it's not like you're sullying yourself. So, like, the whole, like, getting your hands dirty thing is not really an issue. Hypothetically, like, the flusher button is not any more or less dirty than, like, any other thing that you touch in your house.
You know what is a good idea? This would not surprise me if we saw it at CES next year, was because we talked about the smart trash can that automatically ordered you more trash bags when it counted that you were out. A smart toilet seat that orders you more toilet paper. It doesn't have to be a bidet. It's just a smart toilet seat that every time you sit on it, it like counts out and it measures you more. It buys you more toilet paper automatically. I could see someone making that.
Wouldn't it make more sense to have a smart like toilet paper rule thing that like weighs the toilet paper or something? Because like I don't know. I'm not a robot. Like sometimes I use a different amount of toilet paper.
That's good to know.
Also,
I didn't know.
Sometimes like you gotta like blow your nose or something. And you use toilet paper without sitting on the toilet.
I like Colby that you're a working man. Those Kleenex are just too fancy for you.
I want that to either be your, like, LinkedIn headline or on your tombstone. I'm not a robot. Sometimes I use more toilet paper.
That should have been the episode title. Oh god. That's so funny. Oh man.
It's true. I'm not a robot.
Oh my goodness. This we on episode 155, my favorite discussion we've ever had.
Okay, we're done now. We'll just stop.
I feel like some of our best rants have been about stupid crap that has internet enabled.
I'm gonna start trying every week to interject like we did Monopoly tokens last. I'm gonna try to inject one stupid story every week, just to keep it going. Like we'll do a little serious news and then we're just something ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Because that's half the fun of technology, right? It's
Yeah, how crazy.
stupid stuff. All right, well, We've got to move on to picks, but I'll put out last call, 508-644-TECH. That's 508-644-TECH. That's 8324. You can give us a call. You'll hop on the call with us live and join us in the discussion if you have thoughts on toilet technology or on the picks we're about to talk about. Or would like to suggest a pick of your own. You can call in and give us a fourth pick because we always love more stuff. If you've got something cool in tech you want to share with the world, give us a call, 508-644-TECH. I'm going to jump in and go first because I'm at the top of this list by default. And I got an Etsy item, which is pretty cool. I wanted, when I moved, I don't have a lot of stuff with like big personality in my house. It's pretty boring. But I wanted some cool coasters because I'm like, that's a cool place to show some personality. And I picked up on Etsy these fantastic circuit board coasters. And actually, I've got my coffee mug on one right here on my desk so I can show you folks at home. Let me put my camera up here. So you go. So this nice little circuit board. They're thick. These are thick and they're very heavy. If you don't like heavy coasters, these aren't for you. They're like, they're solid, whatever they are, material. But they essentially put the circuit board in the resin. They pour a clear resin over it, and so they're very heavy, but they hold your drinks nicely, and they're just a fun little personality piece. That I think gives it flair. They come in a set of 2 for $15, which I didn't think was outrageous. And what I'm really jealous of is I wanted floppy disk coasters, and they didn't have them when I bought these. Now the same shop has floppy disk coasters that look really cool too. So you can check that out as well. The link will be, it's Snazzy Tabby is the name of the shop on Etsy, but we'll just have the link on the website at don'tpanic.io and check them out. A fun little techie way to do something fun in your house if you don't already have coasters. Protect that fancy wood furniture of yours. Very good. Very good. And I also have no idea how this guy makes any money on these, because even at $15 for 2, like, immaterials, and they weigh a ton. Like, to ship them has got to cost like $80. They're very heavy. So I think this man is doing us all a favor and doing them at cost. So thank you, sir. Let's see, Dan, you're next in the list, so let's talk about you. We haven't picked this yet?
I don't think so.
All right.
Unless someone else picked it. I certainly didn't pick it.
Okay, Dan, what do you got for us?
So over Christmas break, there's this day where I was off from work, and it was right before like going home for the holidays and stuff, but I had to wait for the gas company to come in and turn on the gas in my new apartment, which actually never ended up happening. So I was just sitting there all day long waiting for them to show up so I could leave. And during that time I was like, I should pick up like a stupid game that I can just play. And like I could start playing it now, only play it for 20 minutes, and then that'd be fine. So I picked up this game that came out last year called Stardew Valley. I've never played these games that's based off of, but it's supposedly based off of games called Harvest Moon. And the idea is you move into this town and you're given like a plot of land, and then that's it. Like you can start a farm, you can raise vegetables, you can raise animals, you can have relationships with people in the town, you can buy stuff, you can expand your house, you can expand your farm. That's about as far as I've gotten. Maybe there's even more things you can do. So it's a fun time waster. I also played it while I was home over that PlayStation home remote thing, whatever they call that. PlayStation 4 remote, I think. That worked pretty well. And so it's not terribly intensive. It's pretty cheap. It's like $20. You just walk around. Colby, I feel like you would like this if you liked that game that I forgot the name of, where you fly around in a spaceship and collect resources.
No Man's Sky.
Yeah, but this is fun because like you're optimizing the layout of your farm, and an interesting mechanic is you have to get up every day and water your plants, but then you can buy like sprinklers, so like laying everything out so you get like maximum sprinkler coverage. It's a good time waster. It's available on PC, Mac, PS4, Xbox, I think, maybe even other things. I think Linux too. I don't know. It's available on a lot of things. Definitely check it out if you're into games like that. If you're not into games that require like a specific goal, then you'll hate this game. Yeah, if you're into games that require a specific goal, you will hate this game because it gives you no goal at all.
Very cool. StardewValley.net is the website. The link will be on our website. You can check it out there. Very good, Dan. Thank you. Colby, take us home. What do you got for us?
Cool.
Mr.
So
Smarty Pants.
So I've never like been into crossword puzzles necessarily, but the New York Times, like in their regular news app, like every day they have like a mini crossword puzzle. It's not like the full in the paper crossword puzzle. It's just like a 5x5. And I've been doing it like every day for 3 months. And it's really fun. And then so it turns out they also have like a separate app, an apparently web app, which I had no idea, for crossword puzzles. And you can pay, and they give you like, there are like packs of crossword puzzles that you can buy, and you can also like pay a subscription and you get all the ones that show up in the paper every day. And I did that like the other day, and it's really fun. So if you like crossword puzzles, this would probably be right up your alley. There's an iPhone app there. Well, I'm pretty sure there's an iPhone app. There's definitely an iPad app, which is what I have this.
There is an iPhone app.
Yeah. Apparently there's a website too, which is crazy. I had no idea. I'm so proud of the New York Times for having this online too. And not just on the phones. But it's like, it's well built. I mean, I don't think like the crossword puzzling UI is like super novel, but it's like well designed, and it works well. And it's fun. So I don't know. It's like I think it's like $7 a month, or you can pay like for the year up front. And if you pay for the year up front, it's like half as much. It was like $39 for the year, and that's how they got me. I would not pay $7 a month for this, but like the $3 a month that $40 comes out for the year comes out to, was more appealing. So,
well, and I'll just say two things. One, have you you might have said this, and I wasn't listening because I was filling out the mini puzzle for today. Which was, have you used the mobile app?
The mobile crossword puzzle app?
Yeah, the New York Times app for crossword.
Yeah, so I've used the iPad one. That's where I did it. Usually I just do the mini one in the paper. Like you can do it from within the
New York Times app.
The Times, yeah.
Gotcha.
The regular newspaper app.
Yeah, because I used the crossword puzzle app a while ago on my iPad, and I thought it was pretty good. And in there, you can also buy puzzle packs.
Right.
As well.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
okay.
so like yeah, in addition to the subscription is for like, as far as I can tell, the puzzles that are in the paper, and so you get them as they come out. Like you can play like, or I don't know if they're in the paper. Maybe they don't do a puzzle in the paper every day, but they do like a full size like giant crossword puzzle every day, and then you can go back and play all the full size crossword puzzles, like 20
Forever,
years of
yeah.
crossword puzzles or something.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
The other thing, do you ever do like the Sudoku or the Ken or any of the, you stick to the crossword?
I have done Sudoku in the past and enjoyed it. I didn't know that was available in this until I just saw it on the website here.
All right. Very cool. Yeah, no, NewYorkTimes.com/crosswords is the website, or you can download the app. A lot of fun.
It's actually nytimes.com.
No, all right. No, you're right. So fancy. I can't spell it. We're NY. I heard NY. All right. Anyway, no, great. nytimes.com. Go there. And check that out. Very cool. Of course, the links to that and all our picks from this evening will be on our website at don'tpanic.io. Gentlemen, that's it.
Yes, sir.
We're done. Anything you'd like to say before we wrap up another thrilling edition?
I think this has been a really crappy episode.
Oh, get out of town. Get out of here. You're fired. Get this guy out of here. Are you kidding me? What planet are you living on, buddy? Come on. No, that was
You didn't get the pun there?
Now I did. I'm not clever enough for that.
Oh,
Clearly.
I was laughing so hard. Oh
I'm so
my.
ashamed. Very good. Well, I don't know how we can top that. I do want to mention to people a couple things. One, let's do a little cross promotion here. Up for Debate. It's a great show I do with our good friend Matt Mariani, and you're going to want to check it out this coming week. Last week on Monopoly was good. This coming week, we're bringing back our Super Bowl prop bets, very popular from last year, just in time for the 2017 game in Houston. We're going to bring back some of the bets we did last year and do them again. Of course, the winner, the points. We're going to do Lady Gaga's set list at halftime. Guess which song she's going to sing. But we even have some new bets this year that you're really going to want to hear Matt and I opinion on. And then, of course, after the Super Bowl, we'll let you know how we did at upfordebate.tv. That episode will come out at the end of this week. Now, of course, this show is Don't Panic at don'tpanic.io. There you can get all of the episodes, past, present, and future, audio and video included, all there on the single site. Of course, the links to picks are also with every episode there. You can subscribe in a number of places: iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play Music, on YouTube at youtube.com/don'tpanicshow. Really, anywhere you get podcasts, you can subscribe. Of course, follow us as well. Facebook.com/don'tpanicshow is a great place because we do the show live there Monday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central, streaming live there. You can also follow us on Twitter at Don't Panic Show. And, of course, our phone number, 508-644-TECH. That's 508-644-8324. You can call live Monday nights or call anytime and leave a voicemail. And if we like it, we may just play it on the show the following week. That is it for us. We're going to end it there. We will be back next Monday with even more tech news for you, the fans at home. On behalf of Dan and Colby, I'm Sean, thanking you for joining us and hoping we'll see you next time for even more exciting toilet discussion here on Don't Panic.